Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Janey Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi, and welcome to the podcast. I hope you're well and you've been enjoying the sunshine, or at least a lot of the UK. We've had sunshine. I've got so many exciting things to tell you about. Feels as though I've got a lot going on coming up. Starting off in order, I tell you in date order, and I'm really hoping that we get to connect on some of these things. So next Monday, this is not for everyone, but just in case you are interested in the sober coach training, or you're just thinking of laying the foundations for your own sobriety, there is a free webinar Monday, 19th of May. So obviously online, and all you have to do is register. It's absolutely not sales. You're not trying to sell you anything. We'll just chat about your purpose, about the whole vibe of what it means to be a sober coach. I'm going to be chatting to two sober coaches today, actually. But that's Monday, the 19th of May. So if you go to events at the Sober Club, you'll find it there, thesoberclub.com/events. And then into June, super exciting that we have our very special event at Club Soda in London lined up for Wednesday, 18th of June. And I so hope you can make it. And I know it's a long way, and I know it's a school night and all, but please come if you can. It is at Club Soda. You get the opportunity for an amazing live podcast and meetup, and my special guests. Oh my goodness, I'm so thrilled. I'm going to be chatting to the sober socialites, Becky and Carly, who are all across Instagram sharing their story. Some incredible stories to share between them. They really have. I mean, all of life is there. My goodness, it's going to be fascinating talking to Becky and Carly. The sober socialites, so they're going to be there, and my headliner in inverted commas is Claire Pooley. Again, I get to chat to Claire again, and it never gets old, I can tell you now. Claire is the author of The Sober Diaries, as you know, which is the book that literally changed my life. Without that book, I wouldn't be here doing this podcast. But of course, she's also the author of several incredible best-selling novels that I love. So we're going to be having a chat about Claire's work, about her story, but also about the power of writing, you know, and the therapeutic benefits of writing. So I really hope you'll come along and meet Claire. She's just lovely. Most of you know that Club Soda is quite small, so there's not, you know, a huge amount of tickets. It's quite limited, but you do get to meet everyone. You get to chat to everyone. And if you're thinking, I'm nervous, don't want to come on my own, I absolutely promise you it'll be fine. Well, just DM me, drop me a message and just say, look, I'm coming, I'm on my own. I'll make sure somebody meets you. And you get to try incredible alcohol-free drinks. You get a discount on purchases in the evening, so you can go home with some fabulous alcohol-free drinks as well. So that's Wednesday, 18th of June in London. Again, if you go to thesoberclub.com/events, you'll find the little picture there. And please share it, and please come along if you can. It's a perfect event to bring people along to who are, not sober. That's okay. They can just be sober curious, and just see what all the fuss is about with all the amazing drinks. So it'd be great to see you at that. And then a week after that, on Tuesday, the 24th of June, something very different. One of my all-time favourite restaurants in the UK is called Lusman's. They're independent restaurants in Hertfordshire, just absolutely incredible. And they've asked me to host, or be part of, if you like, one of their Great British Supper Clubs, as they call them. And this is to celebrate Cocktail Day. And we're going to, of course, be looking at alcohol-free cocktails and alcohol-free drinks. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's a no-booze supper club. I'm sure you can get booze if you want to, but we're going to be focusing on amazing alcohol-free drinks. I know that we're going to be featuring Naughty AF. Absolutely delighted, because Naughty are also sponsoring my Platinum Awards. So the more I get to sample Naughty, the better, really. Noughty, by the way, in case you're not aware of that brand. So that's the Great British Supper Club. It's in St Albans. on the 24th of June. So if you go to Lussman's, you'll find that, or again, just go to thesoberclub.com, click on events, and you'll see the information there. So I really hope there's an opportunity to meet up at some point. It would be fantastic to connect. It honestly, just that connection is key. It makes all of the difference. It really does. Just changing subject slightly. I had a really interesting chat with a client, a client who I'm coaching at the moment, and she was, I think, what's been going on with her, and the reason I link it to connection is because she was talking about this sense of not necessarily sensing the joy. It's almost as though there's so much fear in doing this, as she puts it, hard thing, this really hard thing. And her kind of question was, will it be this hard forever? And I thought it was really interesting, and it made me kind of want to throw her a bunch of questions, a bunch of things for her to reflect on, because there are a lot of facets to this. It's not as straightforward as quit alcohol and a week later everything is rainbows and bunnies and feeling sensational. There can be a period of adjustment for sure. And there's a bunch of things need to be put in place in order for you to change or recalibrate, if you like, physiologically. We really need good nutrition. I know you've heard me say it a lot of times, but we really do, because we want to regulate the nervous system, help that brain chemistry, because everything is changing and completely shaken up. So good nutrition is one thing. Obviously, mindset is key. Being able to notice our thoughts, being able to stand separate, as it were, stand back and recognize, okay, so that fear voice, that part of me that's terrified of doing this, that's over there, and I can observe it, and I can bring in the confident part of me that really wants to do this. So that's the other very important piece. But then there's connection. There's that sense of being connected to other people who are doing this, other people who are further along, people who have been there, done it, got the t-shirt, and they're kind of cheerleading you. And that's why I just think these events are so important. If you can't make it to an event, then connect online. That's absolutely the next best thing. So join us in the Sober Club, or whatever community you want to be part of. Of course there are others, but in the Sober Club, it's what we do best. We cheerlead each other, and there's absolutely no judgment, and we meet you where you're at. But the great thing is that whether you've been sober for, a day or 10 years, the level of support is the same, because we're all working on something, right? We're all improving, in inverted commas, or looking at different challenges or whatever. So it's that cheerleading piece. It really makes a difference. Anyways, today I thought it would be really good to have a look at the sober scene in Europe. Well, at least a couple of places. So last week we heard from Toby in Switzerland. So I thought I'd invite a couple of coaches who've trained with me to just share what's going on and where they are. And again, just a reminder, if you are interested in sober coach training, then join our free webinar. It's on Monday, the 19th of May at 7:30 p.m. UK time. If you just go to thesoberclub.com and click on events. So we're chatting about what life is like in Europe, in other countries apart from the UK, when it comes to alcohol-free living. And delighted that Monica was on my course in January, on my sober coach training in January. It was fantastic to meet you, Monica. And I'm going to get you to tell us your surname because I can't pronounce it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not an easy one. It's Jordache, Monica Jordache.
Okay, fantastic. So remind me, you're in Munich.
I'm in Munich and I
Yeah.
have been living in Germany for the past 10 years.
Okay.
So regionally speaking, I think we can have a nice conversation today because I'm originally born in Romania, and Eastern Europe has a very specific relationship with alcohol.
Of
And
course, yeah.
yeah, and Germany and the Central European region, again, it has its particularities, so to speak.
Yeah, totally. Just before we get onto that, then just share a bit about your story. What happened for you?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having me, Janey. It's a great honor to be here.
Oh, thank you.
Um, As a short introduction, I am the founder of High Sobriety Club Munich, also a sober coach accredited by the Sober Club. And I have been sober for the past 2 years. I'm also a marketing professional working in international marketing for an American corporation. So my story is quite simple, the traditional kind of story. I quit alcohol when I realized that it doesn't pay any favors to me anymore. And since I have been quitting drinking, many opportunities just came up, and I realized there are so many resources inside me that were kind of blocked before then. And this led me to this community, High Sobriety Club, which originated in December last year, out of a pure need to have a bit of support and context in Munich for people who do not drink alcohol anymore.
Mm, mm.
Uh,
So what was it difficult for you when you first stopped? I mean, you're young. What was it difficult amongst your sort of work people you worked with and your family and your colleagues?
It was very hard at the beginning, and I will not sugarcoat it. It's not necessarily tough from a physical perspective, more from a societal perspective. I would frame it like this, because we're used to revolving around alcohol.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
everything related to my social circle, up to holidays, to dinners, to weekends, to socializing at work, everything revolved around alcohol.
mm,
So once I quit, I had to take a step back and rewrite my story. And that's not an easy thing to do. It requires a lot of resources, patience, and effort,
yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
and
And
consistency.
what about in the workplace? I mean, in the UK, as you know, there's a really big problem with it being, particularly if you've got a relatively corporate, shall we say, job. It's expected of you to drink, and really, I hear so many people even now say that's their biggest fear. It's not even just going out with their friends. It's being accepted at work.
It is being accepted at work, and again, I have a pretty peculiar type of experience here because I work for an American company. I work remotely from home in Germany, so I kind of have input from different cultures, but at the end of the day, it's all summed up in the generic corporate culture.
Mm,
I am involved in travels, and I do participate in a lot of events, corporate events, and so on. And it is de facto drinking alcohol, that's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But I would start with the good things, saying that I have been seeing things improving in the past 2 years.
Right. That's good. That's good.
It was a prerequisite to be kind of accepted at the table, at the fun table,
Yeah.
after the business was closed, if you were drinking. So it kind of was a ritual, but it's not that focused anymore around that. So the positives are starting to show up, and this is kind of a sum of efforts at many levels. So
Mm,
the entire sober curious movement, the entire health consciousness movement, all of these elements help.
yeah.
What I'm so interested to do at the personal level is to try to have a more focused approach within the companies. And this is something that I'm working right now on. Some seminars dedicated to corporate environments, to different companies,
Yeah.
are mindful drinking.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely. It's so needed, isn't it? Let's before we get back to Germany, as it were, take us to Romania then. Tell us a little bit about that sort of Eastern European drinking culture, but both what it was like and if whether it's changed in recent years.
I'm not sure if it's changed in recent years because I was just checking some data, and last year, 2024, Romania was the country with the biggest alcohol consumption in the world.
No, is that
Yes,
right? Wow.
yes.
I did not know
Yes,
that.
so they had the Statista says that they quantified 17 liters of pure alcohol per capita in 2024. And when they looked at gender differentiation, the Romanian men had an average consumption of 25 pure alcohol liter per capita, which is kind of the equivalent of 1,000 liters of beer per year,
Wow.
which is quite shocking, to be honest.
Yeah. And is it mostly beer they drink, or are they on the spirits in Romania?
I'm talking empirically right now, obviously. So it's beer and wine are the most consumed, but there's also a heavy culture around homemade spirits, the
Right.
schnapps, the
Yeah,
Romanian
yeah,
schnapps,
yeah.
so on. And it's culturally embedded, and these are the tough things that you cannot just change from one day to another, not even from a one generation to another. I mean,
Mm,
you always had the grandparents who were saying that the glass of schnapps before lunch helps with the digestion, and then the glass of wine after. These are things that were just de facto. Nobody questions if that made sense or not.
right. So is there I'm not even sure how to word the question. I mean, are there lots of people who are, seeking help, needing help in Romania? Have they actually got issues with people with alcohol related illness and death?
Absolutely. I do not know the recent stats, but there is a direct correlation, obviously. Um, there isn't, as far as I know, a very clear institutionalized support scheme for dependencies, be
Mm,
them
mm,
drugs, alcohol, whatsoever. So when you think at problematic alcohol consumption in Romania, one usually defines it, you only have an alcohol problem if you're just completely lost on living on the streets, having
yeah,
sold your
yeah, yeah.
house and
Totally at rock bottom. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, the rock bottom. And even for those cases, support is scarce.
Wow.
So gray area drinking or sober curious movement, far from what it should be.
Right. How interesting. How interesting. Gosh, I did not know that. That's
I, I
quite
was
fascinating.
I also was recently in Romania. I visited my family and friends a couple of months ago, and again speaking with my peers, my friends, there's still a lot of lack of knowledge in terms of mindful drinking and sober curious movement, not necessarily trends related to dry January or things like that. So it's still very much incipient.
Mm.
Nicely put.
Yeah. Okay. And back to Germany then. I'm guessing it's a very different picture in Germany. I'm guessing, I mean, I know Germany's a very big place, isn't it? But I'm guessing that they're not too far behind the UK. Am I right?
Yes, you're right. Things are changing, thank God. I notice it day by day, Janey. It's amazing. So, compared to December when I first started High Sobriety Club to what I see today in the city, and as you said, Germany is a big country, so I will talk mostly about the south of the
Yeah.
country,
Yeah.
being specifically. Um, Big improvement in the past 6 months. One of the missions that we cover with High Sobriety Club is to actually go out there in the field and scout for locations within the Castro scenes, restaurants, bars that offer good quality alcohol-free drinks, and try to promote them. So highlight the good players,
Mm.
just for the power of example. And I know that I had huge trouble at the beginning in the first months to find something deserving a post on Instagram to
Yeah.
highlight. But right now it's definitely growing, which is absolutely great. Um,
So
of course,
would you typically kind of find a good choice of alcohol-free drinks in supermarkets then, and also if you go into bars and restaurants?
two different stories. Um, the retail scene is definitely not where it should be. And again, I just came back from London last week, and I was so surprised to see just looking at the signage of no low sections
Yeah,
within
yeah. Every
supermarkets.
supermarket pretty much now.
Yeah, no, it's not here. It's an afterthought when you go into a supermarket. It's always hidden.
Right.
It's always at the bottom of the shelves. Signage is non-existent, and it's usually, I would say, medium quality type of drinks in general. But then you also have the non-alcoholic beers, which is
Yeah, the
again,
German alcohol-free beers are meant to be very good.
they are very good. So that's a bit of a separate topic, and I have a really nice insight on South Munich-based alcohol-free beer. We have a special case in here. But otherwise, there's a lot of catching up to do,
Mm,
definitely. The gastro scene, we see more and more diversity in the drinks menus, which is
yeah.
nice. They are starting to understand that you do not need to invest that much, and it's not necessarily a risky business to have one or two options of spirit alternatives, and you can create some nice cocktails, not mocktails. We don't like that word.
No,
um,
alcohol-free cocktails.
yeah,
Mm.
but they're catching up. Of course, when you look closely, the baby isn't that pretty, and there's still a lot of work to do. They need to grow up, but it's definitely changing, and I think it's a cumulated effort from different segments of the scene. But the main thing that is missing is cohesion between the different players. So you have on one side the gastro scene, and they're starting to catch up. They are definitely influencers in the scene. So if you have the big restaurants starting to develop their menus, others will follow suit.
Mm.
Then you have the drinks consultants and the alcohol-free drinks promoters. That's again a separate niche, not
Yeah.
too many, but they do have influencing power as well. You have the alcohol-free drinks producers, again, growing. There's actually the only production line that dealcoholizes, that removes alcohol from wine. It's in Germany, and it's being used by Austrians as well. So
Oh.
that kind of brings,
Isn't that where of course that's where Iceberg have their don't Iceberg have premises in Germany? Who and they're very big on the de-alkalized wine.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that helps as well. And then you have the other influencer, the social influencer, so to speak. So we have the healthness movement with the yoga and the entire scene with gym and so on, and especially women who want to have a better performance and a more clear view into life. So they also support a lot of the sobriety movement, which is absolutely great.
Well, that's good because that's good because I mean that doesn't necessarily equate, does it? You get an awful lot of well-being stuff, shall we say, that still links to alcohol. I mean, we've all heard of the yoga with wine sessions. I mean, how crazy is that?
Yeah, exactly. And these groups, again, they're pretty female dominated. They also have a strong word to say in the conscious mom culture. They are
Okay,
the
yeah,
one,
yeah,
they are the ones who promote avoiding alcohol to cope as a mom,
right,
which is
right.
again so much needed
So
and so
important,
great.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we have the young generation, which is just spectacular. I adore Gen Z when it comes to their influence on sobriety and the sober movement. Um, this generation doesn't see the charm in alcohol
Right, right.
as we did, as my generation did, which is absolutely great. And they do all sorts of things. And the new trend right now, I'm pretty sure it happens in the UK as well, is this sober raves
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
and or coffee AM
Mm,
raves.
mm,
And
mm.
I think we have right now at least 4 or 5 organizers in Munich,
That's
Gen Z.
brilliant. Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, that do either sober coffee on a Thursday, and they really organize it like a proper party, club
Yeah,
party.
yeah.
And you
Great.
go there from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. before work, and it's also very therapeutical. And
Mm.
you go and dance, and while drinking a nice cup of cappuccino, and then you go to your 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
And and they're very successful. And I'm so glad that they're doing this. But at the end of the day, what we're missing is better connection between all these groups. But I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it will happen. We
Yeah.
just need to be patient and keep on preaching the correct message.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's fantastic. That's very good to hear. Sounds like things are rocking over there. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, we obviously we have the sober raves here. We used to have Morning Gloryville, which was fantastic, which was exactly that. But it was kind of like a morning rave, and you could get cacao or various fascinating drinks and proper DJ and everything. It was amazing. But I haven't seen anything like that for a while, so that's really wonderful that that's happening in Germany.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Very exciting.
Um, One more thing regarding Germany. I think it's worth it to talk a bit about the beer culture,
Yes.
because at the end of the day, whomever you ask about Munich, they will say Oktoberfest and beer.
Yes, of course.
Um, and this is something that will probably never change. And I don't really see a point of fighting with that cultural imprint.
No,
It is,
absolutely.
yeah, the area that can be changed for the better is how um, the organizers, for example, from Oktoberfest, promote the events, because Oktoberfest, for example, isn't just you go there and you get totally drunk with beer and that's it. It's
Yeah.
more than that. It's a cultural institution. You have the music, you have the traditional Bavarian costumes.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
fair.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
probably it should be promoted from this perspective as
Yeah,
well, a bit
absolutely.
better.
I'd still want to go to it, but I just would hope I could also get an alcohol-free drink. I mean,
And
that's
you
all that
will.
needs to happen, really, isn't it? You know?
And you will, and you're able to do that because last year, 2024, I think it's a festival that brings roughly 6 or 7 million visitors every
Wow,
year.
many is that?
Yeah,
My goodness.
yeah, it's huge.
Amazing.
And last year, five of the six tents that showcase at Oktoberfest, and again, each tent belongs to a major brewery.
Yeah, yeah.
They had their alcohol-free beer to be served at
Great.
Oktoberfest,
Great.
which was
Great.
lovely.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Well, that's very positive. Love it. Well, thank you, Monica. I really appreciate it. Thank you for giving us a bit of an insight. Sounds really positive, doesn't it? It's great. So just tell us where people can find more about your work and your the High Sobriety Club.
Yes, High Sobriety Club has a dedicated Instagram account, so you can find us there.
Is
We've
it High
had
Sobriety Munich or is it just High Sobriety?
High Sobriety Club Munich. That's
Cool. Yeah.
the full name.
Yeah.
We meet every month, so it's not only about building an online community. We're actually real people meeting face to face once a month, and the community is growing, and that's absolutely great. So
Fantastic.
yeah, I
Great.
would say Instagram. High Sobriety Club has also a website.
Great. Okay. We'll pop that in the show notes. Thanks ever so much, Monica. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thanks for being so great on our course. It was lovely to have you on our coach training.
Oh, that one completely changed my life.
Yeah?
Simply put, I know it sounds big, but it really did. It unlocked many ideas that I had there lurking. It actually gave a meaning to this entire high sobriety club story. So I'm really
Brilliant.
grateful for having attended that one.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you. Well, we're looking at sobriety in Europe or the rise of the curious in Europe. And I'm really pleased that my guest is Darren Ashman, who I've known for actually quite a long time, Darren, because you were a sober club member for ages, weren't you? And then you trained as a coach.
Yeah, I've been sober with Sober Club for about 3.5 years, I think now.
Yeah, fantastic. And you both live and work in Paris, and even
Yes.
more excitingly, you actually are part of a pub, an actual bar called the Pub, in Paris. So we absolutely have to talk about that because I'm always really interested in what's going on, in European countries. But let's just share a bit of your story. What was going on for you a few years back?
Well, it all started. I mean, I started drinking and going to the pub around 16 years old. I think I celebrated my 18th birthday sort of three times in the
Yeah.
same pub. The drinking was such a normal part of life, really. Progression
Were
of,
you in the UK then?
yeah. I grew up
You
in
were.
the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Most of my life was in the UK. I mean, until I moved to Paris in 2002.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean, drinking was sort of in the 90s. It was sort of actively encouraged drinking.
Yeah.
There was some sort of family trauma when I was younger, but it would have happened anyway. I think the drinking was it was a very hedonistic time in the 90s.
It's what
And
everybody did, isn't it, really?
really was. And then when I went to university in 94, it continued. I carried on drinking. And yeah, I think I left university about 2 years later and I entered the world of hospitality catering. I started waiting on tables, set up, managing restaurants in London. And then I worked in a wine shop in Maida Vale for a while. And while I was in London, my drinking sort of became a daily thing, not
Mm.
necessarily excessive, but regularly.
I mean, would you say that that's partly down to the industry that you're in? I mean,
Yeah.
I joke when I say this because it doesn't matter who you talk to. It seems that every industry is boozy. Everyone tells me,
Mm,
"Oh, the media," and but then I've worked with teachers. I've
mm,
written a book for nurses, and oh my God, I mean,
yeah.
every industry is boozy. But with the work you were doing, I guess it
Mm.
was sort of readily on tap, literally on tap the whole
It,
time.
it was literally on tap. And I mean, I think in the early days, even maybe later, even when moved to Paris, I think I actually went looking for jobs that gave me easier and cheaper access to alcohol. I think I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much, and every day was sort of. I'd wake up and I'd say, "What kind of day is it today? Is it a beer day? Is it a wine day?" And that was yeah, that was more because of the industry I was in as well, because it was so much in my, it was so much there, really.
Yeah. And when did you notice that it was, not enjoyable anymore or a thing or a problem?
Well, it got really bad after COVID when I was working as a head chef in an Italian restaurant. I'd go out after shifts. I'd often forgot how I got home or conversations I'd had. I was coming a bit lost in the haze of alcohol. And then
Mm,
sort of during lockdown, it increased even more. And I was drinking wine at lunchtime, even though I was looking after the kids. And I think I was very good at being a father. But I'd drink into the night. And even late at night, I'd get a bottle of wine at 10 o'clock at night, often delivered to my house, which is crazy thinking about it.
yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't think I was at rock bottom, but I was very close to it. And relationships were suffering. People had started to mention it and a few times over the years. And yeah, I think I'd often sort of dismiss it and have another drink to console myself and say, oh, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you get free?
It happened really on my own, really. One evening in late November 2021, I decided enough was enough. And I did it. And it was completely cold turkey and it was very scary. And I just had enough. It was exhausting actually when I did it. And I think the first few weeks is like everyone will tell you, it's an exhausting period of time.
Mm, mm.
And I joined the sober club very soon after I gave up, and it helped me no end. And although I'm not very active in the sober club, it's always there, and it's always something you can
Yeah.
come back to. And I recommend it to anybody because it's very very it helps you. The connection is so important, and the
Yeah,
community is.
I really appreciate that. And it's really interesting when you say, you did it on your own and
Mm,
it's tough and often those first stages are all around the kind of physiological response, aren't they? And how your
mm,
body's responding and how you're feeling and whether you're managing to remember to eat and all of that stuff. But obviously the mindset and the motivation has to follow on because if it doesn't, we just end up going back, right? And I
well, yeah, I
think
think
that
so. Yeah.
hopefully that's the piece the sober club can do is when people are thinking when they're just about to think, oh well, I've done a month, I'm obviously not an
Mm,
addict, I can go back now. There'll be somebody talking about being 6 months or being a year and just how
mm.
much life has changed, and it's that carrot on the end of the stick. I want some of that. I think it's the motivation that we have to keep us going.
Yeah, and I think in the early days as well, there's a lot of bad choices you make as well, and you need the community to help you guide you in a different way. I think I had a lot of problem with nutrition in the early days and
Mm.
made a few mistakes, and without the sober club sort of put me in the right direction because I was eating a lot of sugar as well, which obviously is the worst thing you can do when you give
Yeah,
up.
yeah, absolutely. So tell me a bit about, so you moved to Paris and
Mm,
you now are part of something called the pub, which I
mm,
suppose is the only one in Paris.
yeah.
So how does that feel then? There must be such an interesting juxtaposition of you being sober and working in the pub.
Well, it was very difficult. We were meant to open the pub. It was always a plan to open a pub with a friend of mine called Ben, and we were and once I gave up alcohol, I wasn't really in the right place to do it anymore. And the idea of promoting drinking when I was trying to kick it for good didn't sit very well with me. So I still wanted to be involved, and I really enjoy the environment. I enjoy hospitality, I enjoy catering. And in the end, I was able to be involved on a smaller scale while obviously focusing on other things, especially family as well. But so I'm able to do a lot of the social media. I source a lot of the alcohol-free options. I organize a weekly open mic session, which is very good, very successful.
Mm.
And I eventually agreed to work a few shifts behind the bar. Now I'm there a couple of nights a week.
Mm.
And initially it was very difficult, very, very difficult.
Yeah.
But now I love it. And I've able to push the alcohol-free options so much more than I would have done before.
I mean, that's actually fantastic, isn't it? You know, because there's that sense of we're not up for prohibition. There's no point even trying that. People are going to drink, right? But if they're going to drink, wouldn't it be great if there's also equal, you know, you can choose to drink or you can choose not to drink, and both are okay, even in a pub environment, even in a bar. You know, I think it's fantastic that you're spreading light, as it were, right at the coalface. You know, there's something great about that.
Yeah, and we're getting more and more people coming in now and choosing an alcohol-free option on, especially on a Sunday night when I work, and people often thanking me the next day for waking up on a Monday morning without a hangover, without being tired, and it's fantastic
because they've been able to do all the same things with the same people, sitting at the same table with the same atmosphere, the same kind of glass. It's just they've got something different in it. You know, what's not to like? So tell me about France, Paris generally, because, you know, I guess I'm right in saying that you're way behind the UK in terms of choices for alcohol-free drinks. I mean, what's the movement like? Are there lots of people who are sober curious or sober? And what is the scene generally around alcohol-free drinks?
Well, it's changing. It is changing. It's taken time. It's not as quick it hasn't been as quick to grow as in London, and I think in London you had a lot of the dry January, the sober October that helped create the buzz a lot quicker. In somewhere like in London, and also the patterns of drinking in different cities helps and dictates the way that people sort of jump on the alcohol-free bandwagon. But unfortunately, the French and the Europeans often consider alcohol, and especially wine, to be part of a healthy lifestyle and almost the norm. So changing the mentalities is quite difficult. And people have started to sort of whisper about AF options a few years ago, and but I think they were scared they might be heard or no, pushed down. But it's definitely changing. It really is changing.
That's really interesting. So would there be other places selling it as well as you then, other bars?
There's lots of bars will have an alcohol-free option, but it will be just one option and an adult option. It'll be like an alcohol-free beer, not necessarily always a good one. We have some good ones in our place, but some of it's taking time. And there is a couple of shops open. There's one very similar to Club Soda that's open called the Pain qui Boit, which is fantastic, and it's an extensive alcohol-free shop, very similar to Club Soda.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's really good.
And it's very, very good, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Now tell me about alcohol-free wine, because that's a particular interest of yours, isn't it? Tell me about your interest in that.
Well, the one thing I miss the most since going alcohol-free like 3.5 years ago is wine. And I loved wine. I studied it. I worked in odd bins in Maida Vale, and I studied it quite extensively when I was in London. And yeah, it's one of the things I miss the most. So I want to learn more about alcohol-free wine and how it could possibly become an exciting new drinks market, let's say, because I think people have to look at alcohol-free wine in a different way sometimes as its own sort of drink, rather than comparing it all the time back to wine with alcohol, which is what they do. It's a new market, it's a new drink with new complexities. It's not so bad for you as well. And French wine producers are now beginning to sort of recognize this trend. And they've started putting money into researching ways to make alcohol-free wine better. And hopefully the competition will hot up between rival winemakers, and they'll make there'll be better ways of making alcohol-free wine, because there has been some improvements. I think the white wine and the fizzy wine is very good. But red wine still needs a lot of work.
Yeah. So I'm right in thinking that often with the alcohol-free wine producers, they have the wine, and then they de-alcoholize it. That's often the way it starts, right? But then there are some where it doesn't start with any alcohol at all.
Yeah, I think that's more more the grape juices and the ones that don't taste that so much like wine. There's lots of different techniques, and it's been around for a lot longer than people realize alcohol-free wine. I'm sort of trying to write a small book about it at the moment, but I've got to find the time to finish it. But there's need more work to be done, and new techniques are coming. As long as more money comes into the industry, then there will be new techniques as well, and ways to add the flavor and the body back into the wine.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt for a drinks producer, the market is growing for sure. I mean, we've seen that sales of wine have massively gone down, certainly in the UK.
And you'd never see French wine producers talking about it before. In fact, they used to dismiss it quite.
I bet they did. Yeah, I bet they did.
But now they're talking about it. So.
Right. And what about the kind of the younger people in Paris? Are they we hear about younger people in the UK who are a bit brighter about their mental health, recognizing that alcohol doesn't serve them, choosing not to drink or not to drink as much. Would you say the same thing applies in Paris?
I think it's shifting. It's changed. It is changing. There is a changing mood in well-being and mindfulness and stuff like that. And I think there is a movement in the right direction. Yeah.
Well, that's really good to hear. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing, as well as being part of the pub. You trained with me as a sober coach. What's for the future for you?
I want to do a little bit more with the sober coaching, and I hopefully will be up and running sort of in the autumn time after the summer, after the kids go back to school, and then still working with the pub. I mean, I'm still promoting and working with the pub, and I have a social media business as well, sort of graphic design company as well, but that's separate.
Great. So you got a lot going on. I look forward to this book. It will be very interesting to read about the alcohol-free wine and its production. And are there any brands that you recommend at the moment, or not particularly?
In terms of red wine, not particularly. I don't think there's anything really that's that great out there. In terms of white wine, there's quite a lot. But I forget. I think the Naughty range.
Naughty is the best. Yeah, I think certainly for the fizz, I think Naughty is amazing.
But the red wine is very difficult to find anything really.
It is, yeah. I think the interesting thing with red wine, it's always the thing, isn't it, that people say, "Oh, I really miss red wine." But the interesting thing is, I think partly we miss the associations. I happened to accidentally cop a sip when I'd been sober for about a year and a half or something. I just picked up the wrong glass. And I took a very small sip, and oh God, I could not get to spit it out quick enough. It was like petrol. It was so terrible. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I used to drink that. I used to actually drink that.
It's very strange actually in the pub as well. We have a lot of different range of prices of wines, different quality of wines, and I can't smell the difference between any of them. And some people are saying, "Oh, you have to try this one. It's so good. It's so expensive," and it doesn't. It smells just the same. They all smell the same to me. And it's because it's been so long. I think that I don't see the difference. Can't smell the difference.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, one thing's for sure, I wouldn't go back, however much you paid me. Sure. Well, it's great to chat to you, Darren. It's a really interesting take on it, and really good to know that there's alcohol-free shop, and we can now come to the pub, and because there was I don't know if you saw it, there was a post in the Sober Club a few weeks ago where a couple of Sober Club members were in Paris, and they literally kind of put this picture up of themselves by the Eiffel Tower or something, saying, "Oh man, is it difficult to get an alcohol-free drink here? I'm fed up with sparkling water." And then I asked you on our coaches group, and another coach who's also in Paris, and you gave us all these fantastic recommendations, and suddenly they had no excuse at all. It was great.
Exactly. It does exist here. It's just, I mean, that part of town they were in is more difficult to find alcohol.
Yeah. You've just got to know where to go, haven't you? So exactly. Just tell us where the alcohol-free bar is, the name of the alcohol-free bar and where it is, and your pub and what district that is.
The Paon qui boit is, I don't know the exact address actually. It's on Rue de Meaux. I mean, I can send you the links.
Yeah, send me the link. Yeah.
It's called Le Paon qui boit. And the pub is in the middle of Paris on the 4 Rue Caron.
Excellent. Darren Ashman, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
So I'll make sure all of that info and the links for those places that Darren mentioned, I'll make sure that all goes in the show notes. Really appreciate it. It's exciting, isn't it, when you think that, well, there's definitely going to be somewhere we can go. And I do think it's getting easier across the whole of Europe. In the Sober Club, people often now post that, they were nervous of being in Italy or Spain or whatever, but actually the scene is changing. In fact, one woman, I think she was saying she was in Turkey. And when they found out at the hotel she was staying at that she didn't drink alcohol, they literally delivered a couple of ice cold bottles of alcohol-free beer to her room, which, even if you don't drink alcohol-free beer, it's a nice touch, isn't it? And it shows that lovely respect for people who are choosing not to drink, which is always, fantastic. So don't forget events, go to thesoberclub.com/events. It would be fantastic to see you at Club Soda on the 18th and or St Albans for the Lussman's Supper Club on the 24th. And I look forward to seeing some of you on the webinar. If you're doing this, hang on, just if it's hard for you, like it is for my client who I mentioned before, just know that you can push through this. You can surf the urge, as we say. Just remember the self-care piece and get yourself connected and reach out. Tell someone you're doing it. I always say this. It's hard when you're on your own and you don't always necessarily want to share it with family or friends either. So reach out and share it with someone who has got it. Either join us in the Sober Club or just pop me a message. I'll hold the vision for you. I really will. I'll shine that light for you so you can just step into what you really want to do, be the best thing you'll ever do. I think you've heard me say that before. Happy sobriety. I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.